What's up, everybody? This is Walker Fowler, your five-time GNCC National XC1 Pro Champion, and you're watching Quad Radio. Bloop, 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 bloop. Burp, 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 burp.
And welcome to Quad Radio.
Yup.
There it is. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Quad Radio. I'm Rodney Tomlin, and my guest today, the five-time GNCC champion, Walker Fowler. And, of course, with that, we'll be talking a lot of great things with him. The 2020 offseason is here, believe it or not. And, yes, it has begun. You'd think people be sitting around eating Tostitos and cheese dip and all that great stuff. Not if you want to be a champion. And we're going to talk to a five-time champion here in just a moment. First, I do want to say thanks to somebody that's helped get him there. The only thing that's been stopping Walker Fowler throughout his entire career, DP Brakes. What is stopping you, my friends? And that is a big question. Be sure and look these folks up. You can get them through any of your local Parts Unlimited dealer, and you can also go online and send an email to our good friends there at DP Brakes, and maybe even pick up a sponsorship like Walker Fowler and all of our top GNCC pros. Also want to take this opportunity to say a big special thanks to our good friends at AMSOIL. AMSOIL. Synthetic lubricants.
Synthetics.
I'll get it. And Walker, maybe you can help me out with this, but you know as well as I do, man, AMSOIL, the first in synthetics, and John Coffey, who is our AMSOIL dealer out of South Carolina, wants to be your personal dealer. He can do that through very easy ways. He can drop ship product right to your house at a great price. He can also help you become a preferred customer as well as an AMSOIL dealer. What you want to do is give him a call at 877-694-4763. And again, remember, AMSOIL, first in synthetics, and be sure and contact John Coffey. We also want to take this opportunity to say thanks to our good friends at All Task Construction out of Lehigh, Pennsylvania, 610-217-0011. And, of course, Walker Fowler Racing. Want to say thanks to those great folks as they have come on board with us and been a big supporter of Quad Radio and be in our motorsports. Want to say thanks to them, and I also want to send a shout-out to our good friends there at JSR Moto Designs for all of your personalized what do you call Nerf bar webbings? Those things, man. I don't know if you've checked them out or not, the JSR Motor Designs webs, man, but those things are unbelievable, Walker. And welcome to Quad Radio. I know it's been a while since we've been on. It's been a while since you've been on, and man, and I know there's a lot of questions going on. First and foremost, wow, look at you, man. That looks like an awful sunny day coming up behind you. What's going on, brother?
Well, I'm finding out that the word synthetics is hard to pronounce. Beyond that, yeah, beautiful sunny day. I'm here in South Florida at my father's compound here. We like to call it WFR South. We have WFR North near Columbiana, Ohio, where Mark Notman loves to come down and do his job, and that's also my father's trucking company. But either way, we're here in sunny South Florida, and honestly, it was pretty good.
It does look pretty good, Walker, and I'm having all kinds of technical difficulties right now. I hope that it's not coming across like that on on the video, but I guess that'd be the beauty of doing an audio-only podcast. But I like doing the video. I like to see your faces, man, and so you seem to not have many problems saying the word synthetics. That's for sure.
Yeah. I've never been sponsored by AMSOIL. Obviously, I use a great company called Maxima, and I've also used Yamaha in the past. Those are the two oil companies I've ever used pretty much in my entire career. Both are great.
So synthetics is not something that you have to say a lot.
Synthetics is not something I have ever. Oh gosh, I've never had to say. I can't talk otherwise, but synthetics now. Not not something I've had to deal with. Starting off on a good note here. We're just really doing a fantastic job. It's been a while. It's been a while.
It has been a while. And that's good though, because it gets to see the real us, man. Why are you in Florida right now? I mean, dude, it's like early November. It's not even Thanksgiving yet. You're already the most fit fella I've ever seen in my life. And yeah, look at that. Look at the guns. Sun's out, guns out, right?
Sun's out, guns out. Usually if it was a Danny Fowler special, the sleeves would be cut off clear of the neck, and I'd have my white New Balances on. But today, no, I'm rocking some Reefs flip-flops and actually a GNCC University t-shirt. Thought it was fitting for the occasion.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure, man. And that's pretty cool, man.
Presented by Yamaha.
Yeah, exactly. And, I don't have a real format or anything today to talk to you. Don't even have a list of real questions. I just wanted to do a simple chit chat. And that brings that up, man. Wow. 5-time GNCC champion. And you still get a mix and mingle with the kids. I mean, everybody through things like the GNCC University. That's got to be pretty cool.
Absolutely. As a 5-time champion, which is incredible for me to say. Just turned 27 years old a week ago. I honestly, it's hard to imagine that I'm that old, because I remember when Chris was that old, and I remember, I'm not going to want to say it, but I remember when Bill Balance was that old. I was a youngin', and it's just crazy for me to think that like I'm aging, which I hate. I don't like that. I feel it every day. But, with age, listening to a lot of Caleb Russell on the bike side, listen to a lot of him talk, and going to be a father of 2 or more. I hope there's only one in there, but for his sake.
Well, only one came out. He already had a little girl, so only one came out.
Exactly. So, it's just crazy to think like I'm 27 and life is happening with or without me either way. And, 5-time champion and been a pro since 2012, but racing since 1996. And, we did a school visit at my local middle school the other day, and everyone was born in 2005. And I was like, 2006, I think. And I was like, I was literally like working. I was almost in the A classes, and like, man, where is time gone for sure. So, just crazy to think. Absolutely crazy to think.
Imagine being 50.
True. My dad's 62, and that I can't even imagine that. I feel bad for him. Mark's 30 something, 32, I think. And, I remember, heck, when he used to come ride with me, we're 5 years apart, and I was just showing my girlfriend's grandparents a picture of us the other day. And I'm probably 5 or 6, and he's probably 11 or 12. And, I got this little tiny bluegill. I love fishing. I'm sure everyone knows that from my videos and from the little things I post here or there. Love fishing, terrible at it. But on that particular day, I caught this little bluegill. I mean, heck, this thing I could use it as bait for something else. And it's Mark and I standing there with my little trophy fish. And it's like the cutest darn picture ever. And it's just cool. Like, we've been friends forever. And that's when I think about how long I started GNCCs in 2002 at the Sparta. I think it was the racetrack side, because there were 2 sides to that property. Mm-hmm. Just thinking about where racing and life and the people I've met has taken me and the things we've done. It's pretty incredible. So yeah, Snowshoe University, getting back on topic here. Awesome to see people from all around the world. Is there people from West Virginia there? Of course. Is there people from Ohio, Pennsylvania? Of course. We had some South Carolina, North Carolina. And in the past, we've even had people from Florida, which is a huge culture shock after you come from Florida and go to Snowshoe. But, to be involved with the youth, and not only that, but adults, it's open to everyone. And just the people you meet and the things that racing can do for your life, honestly. A relationship here and there might, I saw McGill say something yesterday. He was sponsored by some sort of a bicycle shop, and that's grown into, they do a ride day every Thursdays. He's met, hundreds of people, and there's, 40 or 50 that go out on this big group ride, and it's with kids and it's with people that are 80 years old still bicycling, and just the things that this industry has done for all of us. Honestly, it's not just me. It's a racing community as a whole. And if you're any part of the racing family, you understand that. It's a really cool thing.
Yeah, it is. And giving back is always pretty cool, man. I mean, because you remember what it was like to be a kid and wanting to be in the position you're in right now, and the people that you looked up to, the Bill Balances, the Chris Boriches and so forth. And obviously, you have had a very unique, I think, in a way, opportunity as far as someone that not only gets to know your icons, but actually race against your icons and be a part of the program with your icons. I mean, you race some against Bill. You raced with his program, and obviously Chris, if you didn't look up to him, I would be surprised at one point. And getting to battle him head to head like you did coming up through the ranks like that. I mean, it's not often that you get to face your heroes and look them in the eye basically on the battlefield.
I've had such a blessed opportunity. It's absolutely insane, and I try to take advantage of it every day. There's absolutely no question in that. I'm one of the most fortunate people that has ever raced, I'm sure. I got the opportunity to race for Bill Bounce. I mean, a guy that runs the record books. And maybe one day I'll get to that achievement. We'll see. But obviously, just an incredible guy. And I know he has a little bit of some people don't think as highly of him as I do, but if you knew him at all, you knew he was a great man and an incredible athlete, incredible racer, so smart, self-taught on everything. Suspension, and honestly, in racing, that's been the biggest thing, is his suspension knowledge. And I am a fraction, and when I say a fraction, I'm like 1/4% of what he knew. But just watching him and understanding what he knew has helped me tremendously. And obviously, seeing how he surrounded himself with success, I've involved that into my program, and that's been the things that I've learned. All right. So not only from him, but I got to ride with Randy Hawkins, and multi-time national enduro champion, a multi-time, and this is on the bike side. But he decided to take me in actually as a bike rider initially in 2008. And I got that bike back. I have my 2008 factory and pro motorcycle as of 3 months ago, and I love it, and it will never leave me again. I didn't think I would ever miss it. And 11 years later, I acquired it back, and I will never get rid of it. Super cool. Just so badass. Well, I dropped the phone, and we're going to fix that. Back in action. Look at that. That's what you get for talking with your hands. Where were we? Randy Hawkins. Yeah, got my bike back. Won't let it go again. Hopefully I get to ride it. I was actually thinking about racing it at Ironman, but the weather conditions were not at all in my favor. I'm a training wheels kind of guy now, but
what was your last bike? Was it a super mini, or did you have a big bike?
I had a 250F. I rode in 2008. I rode 4 factory Yamaha and Pro under Randy Hawkins's tent in the 4-stroke A lights class, and my 2 best overalls are 19th in the 4-stroke A class. Both were second places. Both were at the last 2 rounds, and it would have been Powerline Park and Ironman that year. So I have 2, and I think I got beat by Chase Bishop at that race, and no Chase for sure. I can't think of the other one.
Wow. See, Walker, that's something that a lot of people, I mean, we hit on it and we talk a lot about it, but I don't think people realize just exactly how close you were to being a 2-wheel star and going that direction. I mean, very close. I mean, that's
that close.
I mean, we joke about it and we laugh about it. Walker used to like to win 2 trophies in a weekend, so he raced 4-wheelers and motorcycles, and that is a great story. But I mean, I think the even bigger picture is the successes that you found in both, and what you found, because you literally came to a point in your road where they said, Walker, make a choice. Are you going to race 4-wheelers, or are you going to race motorcycles? And the beauty of it is you got one sponsor, the Yamaha guy, saying, you got to make a choice.
Yeah. And I don't know if anyone's ever done that. Maybe some of the street bike to flat track, maybe the motocross guys. I know there's some really talented athletes in that aspect, but yeah, I know I was one of few, if anything. So, like I said, to have the opportunity to ride for Pro Yamaha on the motorcycle in 2008 to help really shape. And so Randy was obviously a fantastic rider himself, but he was a really good team manager and really good at getting the sponsors and getting people involved. And that helped us tremendously. Even going, like I said, 10 years later to the ATV side of things, just a fantastic guy, good family man. What a great family. Honestly, it's very similar to Bill, completely opposite people, but very similar in how they, and that's the thing. I think champions and that mentality carries over into your daily life for sure. Maybe I haven't quite mastered it yet, like I think of them, but maybe it was also because I was younger and maybe I didn't see everything. Obviously, I think I'm continuing to mature a little bit. I don't like that word for me. I still feel 10 years old inside, but definitely just an incredible opportunity to be around those kind of people. He owns, gosh, I can't even, Randy has so many successful businesses. It's insane. And I know for a fact that the racing industry helped him shape those businesses. He had a lot of family support, and so do I. That's another aspect. We could talk for hours on just how racing and family has helped shape business opportunities and everything. One day, podcast or something, when we're bored, we have lots of topics we can talk. I love to talk. I'm sure everyone knows that.
Nothing wrong with that. And I love to listen. That's the great thing about it, especially with great stories like that. But Walker, kind of set the stage for everybody, man. I mean, here we are. It's 2006, 2007, 2008, around that time. You're coming up through the ranks in the ATV side of things. You're a big star on that side of things. You're pioneering those youth classes, I guess you could say, in a sense. And
yep, absolutely.
And I mean, obviously you love racing the ATV, and you were really good and highly competitive, and I think championship caliber as well on the motorcycle side of things. Take me through this. That's 2008. You're 27 now. So you're what, 15, 16 years old, 17 years old, right?
Yep. So for 08, I'd have been 16. So just prior to that, coming off of the big wheel youth champion at KTM, stars like Charlie Mullins, which I think was actually riding a Yamaha at that time before Randy, who went on to 250A and all those classes. But Caleb Russell was a KTM youth athlete. Corey Buttrick was another KTM youth athlete. I was a KTM youth athlete, and they made sure they basically hand selected like who they were going to help. And it wasn't a lot of help, but it was enough help obviously to make it worth it. But they pretty much said like, hey, look, if you're really good and really committed, we'll probably bring you under, like the Trail Jesters team, or I'm trying to think of some of the other teams that have been there's like 2 or 3 satellite KTM teams a year, usually 2, for sure 1, maybe 2. And, they thought that's basically where they took you from the youth ranks. They put you on a 125 or a 250. And then obviously at that point, the 250Fs were starting to be really, really popular. They would never put you on a 450 and immediately until you worked up to that. But anyway, I think it was myself. I think the next champion was Stu Baylor. I sold my big wheel to him and I can't remember if it was my suspension or if I had bought Corey's suspension, tuned it for myself, sent it to Stu. He's a great big kid. Obviously, Stu Baylor, I know if you're watching, I know you were 10 times bigger than me then. And I always make the joke that I was always this big. He was a big boy and almost beat me for some overalls my last year. Then I believe Lane Michael was the next champion. And then I believe Grant Baylor was the next champion after him. So if you look at a 6-year span from Caleb Russell to Grant Baylor, there was a lot, and those names, all those guys are actually still involved in racing in some aspect. So, and that was obviously under the KTM side of things, which very few people remember or even acknowledge. But when I came out of it, I couldn't really commit to anything. I didn't know what the heck I wanted to do. And obviously I was racing the ATV and being very successful in that. So I think KTM kind of got scared of that. And they gave me a subpar offer. Plus, they already had Caleb Russell, and they just brought Corey Buttrick on board the year before. So there wasn't really a spot for me. And Ampro Yamaha picked me up in 08 on the bike side. GT Thunder picked me up in 08 on a Raptor 250, completely bone stock. And because obviously I wasn't 16 yet to be able to ride the ATV on a 450, but I think it's 13 or 14 that you can ride a full-size motorcycle at GNCC. I'm not sure. Or it used to be. Maybe that's changed. Either way, I rode the Raptor 250 and I didn't break my ankle. I wish I would have. That would have been easier. I stretched. We had the stock foot pegs, stock heel guards, and the Nerf bars were like Moose Racing or something. And because it was a newer machine, very little products out for it. So we had what we could get because that's all that was there for it. And at Georgia, the second round of the year, I ended up getting my foot caught behind the heel guard and the tire was running it over, but I never got ripped off the machine. So for like 100 yards, my foot was the wrong way, this way, underneath the tire. And I didn't even tear anything. And they said it would have been better if I'd have tore something, but I stretched every ligament in my ankle to pieces. I mean, just junk. It was just junk. So I ended up missing most of the motorcycle season because every time I'd put my right foot out, no matter what boot, cast, anything, I would just wreck it all over again. So I took the rest of the year. I continued to ride the ATV. I would tape the snot out of it. Randy would help me do that, and he was very understanding that I could ride the ATV because hopefully my foot wasn't going to come out. And then it was a bummer on the bike side for sure. But I ended up winning the championship that season, and after summer break, I was able to come back and ride the motorcycle and put some really good results together. And Yamaha noticed those. 19th, I scored 2 overall points and basically didn't race a whole season, which for me, I think I could have done better had I raced the whole darn thing. But, when it came down to it, they said, look, obviously you got hurt on the ATV, it ruined your bike season, but you continued to race the ATV. What are you doing? We can't help you on both. We did it this year. We won't do it again. You make the choice. I spent about a month. A lot of tears between the whole family, what we were going to do, because obviously the bike side of it seemed to make way more sense. There was way more opportunity at the time. But it was one of those things. I grew up, I started on ATVs and I just loved it. It came naturally. And, the rest is history for sure.
I mean, obviously it was a tough decision, but like you said, you love ATVs. So did that make the decision a little bit easier?
That made the decision. It was like, you know what? When I remember when I was 6 years old, riding both, if I had to pick one that day, it was always going to be the quad. It was always going to be 4 wheels. And I was like, you know what? It's 10 years, 12 years later, I would say the same thing every day.
But I have to think that the money end of things, man. I mean, when you're looking at it from a financial aspect, you have to be thinking, wow, the bike side is a lot more appealing. But at the same time, there's a lot more competition for those dollars also.
There's a lot of competition for those dollars, and obviously the 3-hour race is tough. I got to live that, and it is hard. And I honestly got to the point where I would crash the motorcycle so bad, trying to go as fast as I could at overall number 19, that I would be laying on the ground going, I don't think I can do this. I'm going to have, my career is going to be done at 25 if I continue to have these crashes. And on the ATV, I felt more in control. I felt better at that speed. And at least when I crashed it, before I ever started crashing, I knew it was coming. So I could kind of, not that I could prevent it, but I could be ready for it. And there's obviously been days and times when you're never ready for it. But I always felt like, at least if I screwed up on the quad, I remember it happening. On the bike, I would just be ripping along, and then I'd wake up and be like, I don't know where I'm at, what happened. And they'd be like, oh, you hit a stump, and then you hit that tree, then you hit that other tree, and then, and it was just like, I don't want to live that life. Like, I respect it, but I can't live it. Like, those guys are insane. I tried it, can't do it. I got scared. That's what happened. I got scared of it, wasn't interested.
Okay. Wow. I mean, wow. I mean, that's saying a lot because you're very fast on 4 wheels. I can't imagine how fast you were going on those 2 wheels. I mean, people don't realize how deep your throttle goes and how far your throttle can twist around. I mean, the speed that you can find out of the machine is unreal, Walker.
Yeah, and that's in 2008. Imagine, like the KTM and Husky 350 had changed Supercross, motocross, woods racing. These bikes are making 20 more horsepower than they did 10 years ago. I can't fathom having that. And I was on a WR with YZ internals 250F, 36, 37 horsepower, maybe. That same bike, that same 250F today probably is mid 50s. I can't, if stock factory, I can't fathom that. Like, that just blows my mind. So I know I picked the right choice.
Yeah, obviously you did. and I mean, for a couple different reasons. I mean, you've done very well. You've excelled in it. But I think at the same time, man, you were the perfect opportunity for Yamaha and their ATV program. I mean, you are the perfect Yamaha poster child. I mean, in reality.
Bill was on his way out, obviously, with some health complications and honestly, aging out. They had brought Taylor Kaiser in to hopefully fill his spot, but they wanted a backup plan, a backup. And, when 2009 rolled around, I was in college A. I had a really good year. Yamaha helped us with some basic parts, clutches, cables, brake pads, which actually, obviously, DP was helping us. Of course, DP. Thank you. But just those little high wear items that tie rod ends, cheap-ish for them, but something to be like, hey, like, we're thinking about you, we're looking at you. I had a gray bike. They called and said, honestly, hey, look, like, you're good enough, you're fast enough. Don't ride a gray bike. We'll send you some blue plastic. Even if it means nothing, we want you on a blue bike. And it was like, well, obviously they care enough for us to be on a blue bike, so we'll continue doing what we do. And Bill Bounds took me under his wing 2010. And I know this is like the 37th time we've talked about it, but there's always that one person that doesn't know we did quad radio 5 years ago and doesn't listen to it. So here we are again. And brought me under his wing. And, Taylor was back and forth. Chris Borch was a new champion at that time, obviously. Won in 2009, and 2010 would have been working on his second. Taylor was cutthroat with him. I think Chris won a lot of races in 2010, but Taylor was second every weekend. So Chris was only gaining those 5 points every race. So it took the championship clear down to the end. One failure could have put Taylor right back in it. And it's crazy to think that a guy that won 11 races didn't wrap it up early, because a guy that got second every single race was there every single race. And, I had a decent year. We tied with Brian Wolf. We actually broke the plate in half because the tiebreaker went like 3 or 4 tiebreakers back before we could actually solve the tiebreaker at Ironman that year. And he ended up winning with a number 6 on his machine. I ended up number 7, right? Yes. I ended up number 7 that year. He was 6, I was 7. So I came back to win the title in 2011 under the balanced name. Won every single darn race. Only one to ever do it. Ben Kelly, if you're ever watching, what were you thinking, bud? You could have done it. You could have done it. You were this close, but hey, you ended up, so 1 bad race, 2 pro overall wins. I mean, he still made the right choice. Probably made a heck of a lot more money doing it that way.
Yeah.
But so I had that year, won 2 overalls from 2000 and 2011 from the second row in XC2. And 2012 rolls around. Taylor and I both in the pro class. He was number 2. I was number 5. And I ended up number 2. He ended up number 3. And Yamaha said, look, we only have the budget for one guy. You're our guy. You've proven that you're the guy. So, and you're young, you're younger than Taylor, which Taylor, I absolutely hated that they had to pick between us. I wish they could have kept both of us. And I know he probably feels the same way. Maybe, that's a little bit of a tough subject for sure. I hated the way that whole era ended right there. And basically not because of me, but I was the one that Yamaha wanted. And there was a lot of guys, Bill and Taylor included, that I think still had some life left in them and was really good for the ATV industry and GNCC alone. And I guess I was the guy, so I just took it and ran with it. I didn't feel confident in my ability to be able to run my own team, so we went to back to AmPro. Randy was super excited to have us and be able to take us back in, kind of help manage a program. Obviously, I had a lot of my own sponsors, but I didn't know how to run it, so he helped run it. And we got to the point 3 years ago where we felt like we could pretty much handle it. And obviously that was a little bit of a tough time, saying, hey, Randy, I think I'm ready to do it on my own. And him saying, look, we've won 2 championships. Why do you want to leave now? But I told, basically it was like, look, and I remember I'm sure when you were racing, you thought you could handle it on your own and maybe do better on your own. And maybe I'm wrong. Obviously the ATV side of things is getting a little skinny right now. And I just felt like if I was doing my own thing, I've built a name, I've built an image, and I wanted to take my gamble to create my own team image and run with it. And WFR started in 2017, I believe, 17, 18, 19, yep, 2017. Here we are. And 3-time champions under our own name. Amazing relationships. And honestly, like Randy and I were good. Bill and I are good. Everyone from the past, we're all good. That's the key is for sure. It's a tight knit group. You can't burn bridges. There's a way to go about things, do things. And I really pride myself and my team on trying to keep everyone happy.
Well, you're doing a good job of it. I know you make the fans happy, and you certainly do a lot of wows and stuff. Walker, you changed the sport, I think, the ATV racing sport a lot whenever you came into the picture. I want to talk a little bit about that and about what's going on this offseason and what your hopes are for the future. And we'll do that when we come back here on Quad Radio.
Hi, I'm Walker Fowler, and this is a DP brake rotor. And these are DP brake pads. Larry Mills and DP Brakes have been a part of my program for over a decade. Recently, we completed the Heartland Challenge, a 10-hour ATV endurance race that is not only physically demanding, but demanding on my machine and my parts. And that is why we choose DP brake pads. At the end of the race, we had 0 brake failures, and they looked brand new. If you aren't using DP brakes, what's stopping you? Literally.
Impact Solutions is your factory-authorized Elka suspension dealer in the USA. Located in Little Hocking, Ohio, give them a call today for service, parts, warranty, and sales, as well as technical support. 740-989-2026. And be sure and give them a like on Facebook. Impact Solutions. B&R Motorsports, Racing Engines and Suspension, is a family-owned business with over 15 years' experience working on motorcycles, ATVs, dirt bikes, side-by-sides, and snowmobiles. B&R Motorsports strives to provide the best customer service, products, and prices. Check out their website at bnrmotorsports.com and find an extensive inventory of parts for the YZ450RX, the Raptor 125, the Can-Am, and Can-Am side-by-sides, wheels and parts, and shocks, shock parts, and springs, and more. That's bnrmotorsports.com.
Hi, this is Stephanie from JSR Moto Designs. JSR Moto Designs specializes in replacement Nerf bar nets for all makes and models that can be fully customizable to your needs. Our custom apparel can be specifically designed for your race team. We can help make what you wear personal on and off the track, including embroidered or printed hoodies, jackets, t-shirts, hats, jersey lettering, butt patches, and more. Check us out at jsrmotodesigns.com or find us on Facebook and Instagram.
Hi, this is Joel Jansen from Jansen Motorsports. We've been building quads for over 25 years, and now we have stepped up our engine program to a whole new level with 5-axis CNC heads available. Please contact us for details at 920-766-3411. Thank you very much.
And welcome back to Quad Radio. We're talking with old 5-time Walker Fowler. And Walker, as we're back here, he's in beautiful, sunshiny Florida. You're in southern Florida, right? Down in
Southern Florida, yes.
Wow, man. And heat wave. I'm up here in Ohio. It's rainy. It's freezy. Actually, it's not as cold today as it has been, but it's getting worse and worse, man. It's November weather up here. I don't blame you. I think I would have gone down there too. But we've talked about a lot, and I mean, there's been a lot of things that's crossed my mind. But, you know, the one thing that I want to talk about with you is, and I mentioned it just before break, that you changed the face of the ATV racing world, I think, in GNCC. And I think the one person that can probably attest to that more than anybody, and you know who I'm going to say, we're talking about Chris Boritz, man. I mean, because you totally basically came in and upset his world, man. I mean, that's just the plain and simple. And I don't mean that with any disrespect whatsoever towards Chris, and I hope that Chris doesn't take it, because I know he gets butthurt really, really easy over things. But, and Chris, I mean this with all the respect in the world. You know as well as I do, he was a threat. He came in, and you did it, man. I mean, but wow. I mean, those were some tense times, man. I mean, people don't realize, I mean, everybody's got the smiles on the faces and everything, but Walker, man, I mean, let's talk about that, man. I mean, how tense was those times, especially when you're coming from that XC1 to XC2. He knows you're coming. You've already won a couple of overalls, and you're his biggest threat whenever, what was that, the 2014-15 season or something like that, I think it was. I mean, talk a little bit about what times were like them between you guys.
So as far as changing the game goes, I can't take full credit. There's a name that I'm sure a lot of people remember, and it's Brian Wolf. And he was the guy that actually changed everything. Him and I battled closely 2010, and he was winning overalls. I mean, obviously snowshoe, that was his deal. And he won a lot of overalls from XC2. And he also won a lot of overalls when he moved up 2011 and 12. I think he had some health issues, some bike issues, just a bunch of stuff going on in his life too. But he changed the game. It wasn't the race around for an hour and a half, and then race the last lap or two. It was a sprint from the get-go, and I had to adapt to it. And I think, honestly, up until pretty recently, I was the only guy to, since he was starting it, I kind of latched onto that, and we had, we had some really impressive overalls from XC2 combined. And, obviously his success when he left, I took it over, had 2 overalls from XC2, which has still not been done since. But like I said, Brian Wolf and I, he started it, and I've paved it since. And it's tough. I mean, and even on the bike side of things, once the 07, 08, Juha Salmon and David Knight guys came, and then Charlie figured it out. And then everyone since then, it's a 3-hour sprint. Maybe they might fool around for a lap or two, but it's not the fool around for 6 laps and then race 1. It's an all day brawl. And, I think that's super cool. And that's obviously cool to be a part of. It's tough. It's tough to do. It actually requires some training. It requires a lot of, bike prep. The bike has to be able to do 2 hours for sure. ATV has to be able to do 2 hours. Sorry, no bikes. But it's not easy. Early when I moved up, I think everyone thought there was going to be some really wildfire results. And even Chris told me, he's like, you can win 2 from XC2, but wait till you move up to XC1, big boy. It's going to be a rude awakening. And it was. Obviously, I was still a factor, which is sort of rare, maybe early. And initiation wasn't as bad as I thought. I was always told I was going to get the hell beat out of me and just crash and wheels ripped off my bike. But I've always tried to race respectful, and I think those guys know that. And if they got a wheel on you, you check up, you let them go. And being around Bill and Johnny Gallagher, and being around Chris, and being around Taylor, older riders, older mentors, they really were like, when you come in, don't be a pinball, don't be a hell on wheels. You gotta, if you can ride respectful initially, it's gonna work itself out. And it did. Everyone was really good to me. Ended up only getting 1 overall in 2012. That was Ironman. And I thought I could have done a little bit better, but then 13 rolls around, had 3 wins that year, which was pretty cool. And then obviously the infamous 2014, I think Chris ripped off 5 wins. I forget, I think Adam might have got one in there somewhere, maybe another rider, but then I ripped off 5 wins. So then we're deadlock, dead tie going into, actually we had both acquired 6 at that point, I think. So maybe Adam won 1, Chris won 6, I won 6. Dead tie going into Ironman. And that's still honestly probably one of the most talked about, the most watched races ever. Bike quad ever. Just the whole race. I mean, it wasn't like some guy dominated all day and there was a guy right there. I mean, we went back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And even Adam McGill was kept us honest, but he stayed out of the race. He knew what was on the line, which thanks, Adam. Appreciate it. All these years later. But that was definitely a turning point for sure. That race finished. Chris won. Hats off to him. It was his last championship, and possibly his last. Who knows? A lot of things can happen. He's still a factor, still fast. Holy crap, there's an ant on me. Get off me. You got to watch those down here in South Florida's ants. That was basically his 2015 season was not pretty. He got on the Yamaha, got some Yamaha support, which I was salty about because they had told me there was nothing else that they could do for me. And then they went ahead and helped him. I wouldn't say it was a huge deal, but it was a deal. And looking back now, I don't care at all. It is what it is. It was a business decision on their part, and I don't know who at Yamaha you talked to. I never asked a single question. It just fueled the fire for me to really, really push and try to make it. I was this close in 2014, and I had to make it 2015 count, and we did it. It wasn't pretty. It took it to the last race. Adam actually midway through the race was winning the championship. I was riding around in 12th. He was winning. He ended up having a DNF, and I crawled back to sixth place finish, I think. Not the way I wanted that day to go, but that's pressure. That's life. So we got it done. And, now we're 5-time. Pretty badass.
Hard to believe, man. I mean, you look back and wow. I mean, and after that year, after that race in 2014, and I agree, man. I mean, a lot of people talk about that. I mean, it's talked about not only at Ironman, during Ironman and things like that, but I mean, it's talked about all year long. And I'm sure it's emblazoned not only in my mind and all the race fans' minds, your mind, Chris Borch's mind and everything, because honestly, after that, there was a big turning point. And I mean, whether it be Chris's fate was sealed by going to Yamaha, making that switch in his program, and was the demise of what took place there. I don't know that that's the case. I know when we came back the next year and he was going back on the Suzuki, he was saying, the pace isn't that much faster, but I think that he really was awoken that the pace really was that much faster. And it seems to have gotten even faster since then. But the beauty of it is he seems to be moving up. And, I mean, even though it's taking him, he's starting to become that competition again. I mean, you got obviously Cole, who is like your shadow. I mean, he's like your stink on your poop or something like that sometimes, man. And then you got Bryson, who has got
absolutely. Bryson's been a huge threat.
Yeah, and you got Hunter now, who's got his first win under his belt. But there's always, and Adam McGill, obviously, Jared McClure, you can't ever leave it. But there's always that Chris Borch. Chris Borch, the winningest GNCC racer of all time, 75 wins. I mean, the guy knows how to do it, knows how to make it happen. Even though he's getting older, he's still right there. He's still a threat, and he's not going anywhere anytime soon. I think Chris has probably still got another 5 years left in him, honestly, if he wants to stay healthy and be competitive.
If he stays healthy, he'll be in it at least till 40, for sure. And, Johnny's 40, I believe, too, and has won a race at 39 and a half or right at 40 and something. And that was a guy that had never won a race. So the winningest rider, he'll be around as long as he can continue to afford to do it. Sponsorships continue to help him out. Family, his young daughter and his wife, as long as everyone's still good with it and it makes sense for him, he'll continue to be around. And he'll always, when Chris Borch lines up, I don't care if he takes 10 years off and he lines up on that starting line, fit, trim, ready to go, he'll be a threat. That's the nature of a champion. That's the nature of a guy that's always won that many races. 75 wins. He doesn't screw around.
No, he don't. And what's really neat is I love it when I rarely get a chance to talk to Chris because Chris is a kind of a quiet guy and he's kind of reserved. But when he has something to say, he says it, and he says it boldly. He says it, and he doesn't hold anything back on it.
Not anymore.
And you've heard,
never has, but not anymore.
Yeah, you've heard some of the statements. I mean, what does it make you feel like whenever Chris Borch says, "I like Walker, but he's cocky"?
Oh gosh, it's getting brought up.
No, and I mean, really, I mean, it's only fair. I mean, Chris puts it out
it's
there.
a good question, and that's what Quad Radio is for, and the fans thrive on it, and that's here I am moving around because I'm uncomfortable.
Don't be.
Man, this is the best question you could have asked, and honestly, it just fires me up because I can't think of a time that I was ever cocky. I've been confident, and maybe sometimes that gets confused as arrogance. And I would say 9 times out of 10, I can back it up. And I guess if you can back whatever is said, if you can back it up, it's technically not arrogance. Things said in a tone. I'm sure I typically laugh after some things because it's what the fans want to hear. But, I'm sure, damn, this is hard. As a guy that has won that many races and a guy that has had a lot of success being Chris and is a guy that's been beat so many times by so many awesome people before him. It definitely hurt. I didn't like that interview after Camp Coker. He got a win. He'd got a win the year before that in Snowshoe, which is his first one in 4 years, and then got another win at Camp Coker, which I had an issue on the track, but that doesn't mean that he wouldn't have passed me anyway. But then he had some issues at the finish line. But it seemed like a bold statement. I'll say that. Chris, if you're listening, I thought it was a bold statement, and it really fired me up for the rest of the year. So thank you. I appreciate it. That's about where I'm going to leave that.
That's fine. And I can understand and I can relate with that. I mean, I'm sure it hurt on a personal level, but you look past that and you, like you said, you used it for fuel. And is there anybody else? Has there ever been anything that anybody else has ever said that kind of felt like a gut shot to you, and you felt, I don't want to say unfair, but because everything's fair when you're in your position, people are going to say things. But has there been things?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you take everything with a grain of salt. Social media is the plague of the world. It's a disease. It's miserable. I hate social media. It's a great place for us to obviously promote ourselves and all that happy stuff. But the naysayers and the BS that goes on online is just miserable. And the people that say literally, I can't wait till someone else wins, and I can't wait till this guy goes away or disappears. I mean, I'm here having a good time, living my life, living my dream. And there's people that just want to crap all over it and are tired of. And they were tired of Barry winning, but they couldn't get on Facebook and say it because it didn't exist then. And there were guys that were tired of Bill winning and couldn't get on Facebook and say it. They had to actually show up in person and be like, you know what? I don't like you winning. You should stop. You should let someone else win. How about you pull over? How about you don't do your damn job? How about you don't worry about making a paycheck? This is my living, folks. I have to win. And then people are like, well, you probably get paid for third. Well, guess what? I do, but it probably doesn't even pay my way to the race. I have to win. People are that confident in my ability to win that if I win, I do pretty good for myself. I don't have to go get another job. But if I don't win, it hurts. So the last 2 races this year really didn't do me any good for the winter time, which is a feast or famine. I mean, we go all year making paychecks to a 4-month drought of nothing, and winning those last 2 races, being in a position to win those 2 races and not winning them, that hurts. I mean, that's a lot of plane tickets to see my girlfriend, family. That's a lot of food on the table. That's a lot of truck payments.
And see, that's something that I bet a lot of people don't realize. They probably realize that you got win bonuses, you get win bonuses and stuff like that. But in a program such as the ATV market, the slim as it is and stuff right now, I'm sure that it is performance-based pay more than anything.
More than anything. And that's, I get paid to win. Winning is my job. And maybe that's why maybe that's where the arrogance thing comes from, because I have to hold myself to that winning standard or else I don't eat. And I think maybe that's like literally where people are like, I don't like this guy. He has to win, 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 win. I don't win. I don't eat. So you damn right. I'm going to win because I got to eat.
you and Chad Weenan must have the same program, man.
Exactly.
He's
totally
hungry.
Respect Chad.
Yeah, definitely, man. I mean, that guy, I know that there was some hurt feelings and stuff between his family and me over his loss at Redbud. I got blamed for jinxing him on that day and so forth. But I hope Yamaha
He'll have that.
No, I hope Yamaha doesn't hold that against me or anything like that. But no, I have all the respect. And, I admire you guys. And now it makes a lot of sense as to why you're so win-driven, why you got to win. I mean, not only because you want to, because, hey, you got to eat, man.
I got to eat.
And you got to do something to keep those 2 boats you got going too, huh? Yeah,
I got a little fishing boat and I got a ski boat that's definitely for sale because that thing's costing me money to own, because the heck with that thing. But I mean, like I said, you got your vehicle payment, and I'm 27 years old. I do still live with my mom, and technically when I'm in Florida, it's my dad's house. So I'm looking at guy can't move on in life. No one wants to get married and move in with their mom. So I'm trying to build a house, trying to get some property, trying to be an adult. So I got to win, man.
I can see the headlines now.
Yeah.
Nearly 30-year-old 5-time GNCC champion still lives at his mom.
Lives with his mother. Yeah, that would sound good, right?
Right. Let's look toward the future. We talked about, the past competition, Chris Borch and so forth. But man, I mean, now you're in Chris Borch's shoes. you might understand why there's some animosities between Chris and you, why he feels the way you do. Because, I mean, look at the big picture right now. You got this kid named Cole Richardson. You got this kid named Hunter Hart, who's a rookie and just popped off his first win, and a kid that has been coming up trying to break every record that you ever set as an ATV racer.
Stop it, Hunter.
I mean, here we are. That's just two. And then you got, well, obviously you got Chris, you got Jared McClure, you got Adam McGill, not taking anything away from those guys. But I mean, yeah, they're the competition. You know them real well. But I mean, and even though you know Cole, you don't know really, I mean, what he's totally capable of yet. I mean, you've been in that position that he's in. He's on a cusp. Same thing for Hunter right now. I mean, so let's talk about the competition from your standpoint, looking at it from where Chris was, say, 5-6 years ago, whenever you started knocking on the door.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's obviously the veterans that have been around either the same time as me or before me, and they're always going to be a threat until the day they decide to hang the helmet up. There's no secret in that. Excuse me. And then Bryson Neal, I think, is basically the next guy behind me.
And then on top of that, let me add this. Then you've got Bryson, who's not only fast, but he's like the GQ of GNCC. I mean, he's like
my girlfriend thinks he's beautiful. I'm not afraid to admit that.
Everybody, I mean, gosh, I mean, Bryson, I mean, I hate to say it, I don't have a man crush on him or anything, but he's good. He looks good on video. He looks good.
No, he's a good face for the sport, for sure. He's a good face for the sport. You got to have that. I mean, besides maybe myself, there's none of us that are bad looking guys, for sure. And you got to have that face. When you look at the Supercross guys, there's always maybe one or two that stand out. It's like, man, he's definitely a redneck that just happened to make a living on motorcycles. But
but then,
no, I mean,
you got Bryson, who's not only fast, but he's good looking too. So all of a sudden, you got competition in both ranges.
Sponsorships, rats. No, I'm just kidding. His what he has in life is because he's worked hard for it, and the results and the way he carries himself has nothing to do with looks. But the way he looks does him a lot of good off the track, I'm sure.
I like that. But yeah, I mean, continue to talk. I mean, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, you're good. No, it's just a funny tangent.
Because that is kind of an inside thing. And I will tell you this, my girlfriend, Nikki, she thinks you're the most handsome thing in the world. She sees you and she's just like, oh, my
thanks,
God,
Nikki.
He's so cute. He's so beautiful.
Not sure what she sees. But thanks. No.
She sees a little Superman, I guess.
Maybe. Who knows? I doubt it. I don't feel like Superman. But, Hunter Hart, for sure, him getting his first win's huge. And like you said, he's trying to break all the records and trying to do everything. I didn't even realize there were youth records. Never really. I was just racing. Didn't think about it then. Still got him on that XC2 stuff. Take that, Hunter. You'll never get back to that because he can't. He's not legally allowed to. So, yes, got that one. See, that's where that big head and arrogance thing comes from, even though I'm just playing jokes. But we both got our first win in our rookie season. Both came at Ironman. I don't know if anyone saw that post I did on Facebook or not, but second place the same day that we both got our rookie pro wins, Jared McClure was second. So that's pretty cool. Pretty interesting fact. But yeah, it's awesome for him to get his first pro win. And honestly, if he's going to follow in the same footsteps, that means he gets 3 wins next year. And then that means he battles for a championship in 2021. And then that means he's champion in 2022. So I have a lot to be worried about.
So how many championships you got? 2, 3 left in you, I guess?
5. So that would be battling for my, I would end up with 7. And that would be the end of it. Good to know you guys. Have fun.
Now, you're not giving up that easy, are you?
No, not that easy. And then obviously, Cole, Bryson, Jared, it just really depends on support and who can continue to try to do this crazy lifestyle and win races and be successful. Obviously it takes funding and money and sponsorship. So, if those guys decide that they need to get a road job and do something else, I guess we'll see. I hope that doesn't happen. I love the competition. I love everybody being there. Adam McGill, obviously, he definitely does better for himself being who he is and his name than he does race results. And there's nothing against that. I mean, look at Johnny Gallagher. He still races 4-wheelers because of who he is, how he presents himself, how he sells the product.
Right. But, one thing, an interesting fact about Johnny Gallagher, I didn't realize until maybe the last couple of races, Johnny Gallagher had finished in every race that he had raced and finished. he had finished in the top 20 in every race except for like 2, I think, maybe 1 or 2. I think
for a span of so many years.
20. Yeah, as a pro rider, I think he finished out of the top 20 overall 1 time, and that's saying a whole lot. I mean, you think, oh,
Whole lot.
To be in top 20 is saying something there, I think. So, yeah, my hat's off to Johnny for that. So, Walker, obviously, you got the competition. I mean, it's a given fact. Hunter, if things continue the way they are, he's, like you said, he's on track to be a big thorn. Cole, obviously, with results and what we've seen out of him, we know the maturity on his point is making himself, I think, a big factor in it. And then, like I say, you got those other names. But and Bryson, obviously, and I don't want to leave Bryson out of that, because I mean, Bryson, somehow or another, he so quietly does what he does, but does it in a loud way at the same time. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I mean, he had such a successful, quiet season this year, I think, when you look at the end results in the big picture. So I don't think that I think I overlooked Bryson a lot this year, and I don't know why. I guess probably because he was riding in your shadows a lot as well. But as a lot of guys do. But the big picture is right now, I mean, you've got these guys right now, but what's coming up through? Are you looking into the XC2? I mean, you got the kids like Drew Landers, you got the John Gladas, you got, who are the next up and comers that you've got your eye on that could be a threat and somebody that you may have to worry about in the next few years of your career?
Definitely looking towards, the younger guys coming up, XC2 class, your A classes, and even into the youth ranks. Of course, we have John Glada, who's putting in some really good results. Came into the pro class, basically 2 races that, not that I'm going to say that they weren't races, but one of them, obviously your first race is always going to be iffy. And that was at a West Virginia track where you had to have a really good start. And it was also the first race where my championship didn't matter anymore. So everyone was racing cutthroat. So he kind of got shuffled to the back. And, I'm sure he could have definitely done better. And based on his overall results, could have done better. He did better all year. But, going to Ironman, we got 17 feet of rain. So, of course, that's not going to be his best race. And it was a good eye-opener as to what is it like to battle the ruts in the track, be in the first row instead of the second row. So yeah, I'm definitely excited about his future for sure. In the XC2 class, you also have Drew Landers. I think he's going to be a good rider here soon. He just needs a break. He's had a lot of issues, whether it's mechanical or just kind of finding himself maybe, or getting in shape earlier in his career. And we'll see. I know he's got a good family backing, and obviously he uses my mechanic, Mark Notman, so his bikes really aren't an issue anymore. But we'll see. I think he just needs to find himself. He's got a lot to prove to himself, and he was hoping to do that this year, having talked with him, and it still just didn't happen. So I think if he would ever get some confidence, and he's pretty fast, and like I said, he's got the machine. So if he could just find some confidence, I think he'll be pretty tough in the next coming years. Going back into the schoolboy AB class, the 13 to 15-year-olds, you have Lane McCormick, who's just absolutely lighting the world on fire. And those hybrids are just so hard to keep together. So basically, if he finishes, he wins. If he doesn't finish, obviously it doesn't matter. He could have been winning the whole damn day, and he didn't finish. So that's part of racing. But speed-wise, fitness-wise, I mean, the kid's a mountain bike champion as well. Can ride a motorcycle, can ride a pit bike, the kid's just multi-talented through and through, coming from a fantastic family, even through hardships right now with his father, is still able to mentally get his game together and perform on race day. And mentally, that is hard. And that is a huge side of racing. So I think even though this is very challenging for him and his family, what he's showing, improving, is huge for him. And you never wish that on anybody. Obviously, you don't wish anything to happen to anyone, family wise. So for him to be able to overcome that and continue to race, continue to have a positive outlook, and continue to have fun. Him and his brother, both. Little Ryder is amazing on that little 90. They're just incredible. And so is Alicia on the on the 450 in the women WXC class. They're just a great family. They have, just like I said, so multi-talented in everything they do. And I absolutely wish them the very best. I hate that Brian's not in perfect health right now. And I think he'll make a recovery and come back from that. Parker Henderson is another name. Your new youth champion. And typically your youth champion is a huge prospect and a guy that can, in the next 5 years, make a huge impact. So that's very cool to see him.
Speaking of youth riders, has Damian Hawkins hit your radar yet?
He's definitely been on the radar, and obviously he was supposed to win pretty much. And I thought actually at one point that they had posted that they won, but I think some DNFs and some point swaps and some things happened that he ended up not winning. So there's a lot of good youth prospects coming up, and that is super exciting. I just love the fact that there's still kids racing ATVs, as long as their parents love it. And I would love to tell them all that, yeah, there's going to be a factory ride at the end of the tunnel. Hopefully there is. Come on, other manufacturers, get in the game. Yamaha can only do so much. But, it's awesome to see these young kids coming up through and making a huge impact, getting some overall wins, getting in their local series, being successful. So, can't wait to see them all at the banquet and congratulate all the youngins as well.
No doubt. One quick question about competition, then I'm going to go to some questions that folks have sent along here.
Coffee or tea? No.
No. Who on race day? Who is it that you really think the most about? Who?
This is where the champion in me comes out. It totally depends on race conditions. It totally depends on track location, race location. Had we been there before? Look at the past results. And demeanor on the weekend. There's been more than one time. Sorry, Adam, don't want to point you out. There's been more than one time when you've interviewed Adam and he says he can't wait to go home and see his wife and his dogs. That means you're not there to race.
Right.
You're out. Your head's not in it. This year at West Virginia, Adam McGill was ready to race. And had it not been for an issue with the flags, because I thought it was going to be, everyone thought it was going to be a 5-lap race. They ended up making it a 4-lap race. Adam had moved into second, and they ended up throwing the white flag instead of the 2-lap card. So he went from second to like 7th because he had pitted, or he hadn't pitted yet because he thought it was going to be a 5-lap race. And it ended up being the same result he's had all year, which I hate for Adam because that is the best I've seen that guy ride in years. He was on rails. He was there to do work.
Dude, I heard so many people talking about that. I mean, you're not the only one.
I mean, this guy, had I known that he was, or had I not known that he was basically in third or second, I had told you he was winning that race. The way he was riding, that he was aggressive. It was an Adam McGill we haven't seen in a lot of years, even at Snowshoe, which he gets fired up for, but he was aggressive. He was making passes. The fans were going wild. It was crazy. At this point, if there's a new venue, I'm putting my money on Cole Richardson. He did it last year. I was able to overcome that and kind of beat him at his home track per se. He had a bad start and some stuff going on. We go to our new venue in West Virginia, and he just blows everyone's clocks. He just out he goes, rode his, him and I were together. And then when I had my issue, he continued to stretch that lead to huge numbers. And man, new venue next year, if we have one, I'd put my money on Cole Richardson. That sand race, other sand race, what the heck is that one called? The one that Chris won this year. Camp Coker, Society Hill. I'm putting Chris on that one. He's always been a strong contender there. Obviously proven this year with a win. And I don't know if he won the first one or if it was Adam, but he's always pretty well been on the podium there. He's strong there. Bryson Neal, through the first 6 races, you can guarantee he's going to be a podium guy. I mean, you can go back through the years, kind of predict where guys are going to be and know who's going to get the start, who's going to be where. And, I think maybe that's, not that I'm giving secrets away. Numbers are on the table. You can go back and look. But, I'm a numbers guy, and I know I know how riders ride. I know how their bikes handle, and I know where they excel. So it's different every weekend. All right.
That's really good. And, I love the way you analyze it too, the numbers, and that's about the only way you can do it. You got to look at history, and And there are a lot of elements, like you say, how they're feeling on that weekend, just their mental attitude, their previous results. I mean, there's a lot of things that you got to take into account. So
yep. There's always a surprise, though. Hunter Hart winning Ironman never would have happened in my book. He did it. You surprised me, Hunter. Congratulations. Devin Feehan getting his third place at the West Virginia, at the High Point, basically, whatever they call that one. Mason-Dixon race. Not going to say I didn't see it coming. Hadn't proved it yet. He did it. Now he's on the radar.
Yeah,
so,
and there's, you know, I apologize to Devin Feehan for not even mentioning him. Wow, what a turnaround on him after he came out of that injury and after the break. I mean, it's like a whole different rider, the one that I think kind of expected to take to see in the XC1 Pro class from the get-go.
You'll see more out of him for sure. What you won't see is him getting more whole shots than me.
Sounds like
that's our battle, Devin. I challenge you. No, I'm just kidding. That's like a standing joke. Yeah, like if you're gonna put money on someone to get a whole shot, it's gonna be Devin or it's gonna be myself. And we don't even really talk about it, which is funny. But like on the starting line, like I have the most bad blood with that kid. I'm like, if this son of a gun gets a jump on me, like, I'm doing everything I can to rail that corner inside or outside. I'm getting the whole shot. I don't even care if I end up going in the woods 10th. Like, he is not getting another whole shot because I want it. So, but honestly, I forget. I think I had 5 or 6. I think he had 4, and there was like 2 other ones sporadically throughout the year that someone else got. But him and he was even hurt. So thank God he got hurt, else he'd have actually probably had that bragging right. Which... didn't mean that to like, thank God you got hurt. Don't be hurt, Devin. Not what I meant. I just mean it because I like whole shots.
we know what you meant. You weren't missing. That wasn't malicious. Yeah. I get it.
But no, he's a fantastic rider who I expect a lot from.
And let's go to some of the questions that I have posted online here. We'll do that when we come back here on Quad Radio.
So you ready for snowshoe this weekend, Brandon? Oh, yeah. Are you? That's cool. Stop, Billy. It's supposed to be pretty nasty this weekend up on Snowshoe Mountain. Stop it, Billy. I'm pretty pumped. Put the brakes on. DP brakes. Good enough to stop my ATV, his ATV, and hell, it'll even stop a Billy.
Impact Solutions is your factory authorized Elka suspension dealer in the USA. Located in Little Hocking, Ohio, give them a call today for service, parts, warranty, and sales, as well as technical support. 740-989-2026. And be sure and give them a like on Facebook. Impact Solutions.
Hi, this is Stephanie from JSR Moto Designs. JSR Moto Design specializes in replacement Nerf bar nets for all makes and models that can be fully customizable to your needs. Our custom apparel can be specifically designed for your race team. We can help make what you wear personal on and off the track, including embroidered or printed hoodies, jackets, t-shirts, hats, jersey lettering, butt patches, and more. Check us out at jsrmotodesigns.com or find us on Facebook and Instagram.
Hi, this is Joel Jansen from Jansen Motorsports. We've been building quads for over 25 years, and now we have stepped up our engine program to a whole new level with 5-axis CNC heads available. Please contact us for details at 920-766-3411. Thank you very much.
And let's go to some of the questions that I have posted online here.
I know my mom asked one.
Yeah, we'll get to that one here in a few moments. Rodney Van Fossen, man, I've been running into a lot of Rodneys lately.
Hey, Rodney.
And there's a lot of us right around the age of 50. And I always ask everybody, where did your name Rodney come from? Because I always wonder, I didn't know any Rodneys growing up. So I was always like, where in the world did that name come from? My mom said she watched a show, a soap opera called Peyton Place, and there was a guy named Rodney on there. And most of the Rodneys I know are right around my age, so I have to think that show was pretty influential. But anyway, Rodney Van Fossen says, please ask him which race season was the best for him not being a pro rider.
Well, I don't know if the XC2 year counts, but that perfect season was huge for me. 2011 XC2, just I rode through some injury, I rode through illness, rode through some mechanical issues. I had a bike that was stuck in third gear all day at Loretta's, still beat that. Had my world-class mechanic, Brock Booth, with Balance Racing, the only other mechanic I've ever had other than Mark Notman. And being under that wing, that was fantastic. Prior to that, maybe I don't know. The youth stuff was a lot of fun. I had a lot of great times in youth ranks. I used to get so worked up and so nervous that, like, at the time it was miserable and I didn't even want to be there because I would literally throw up on the starting line. Every race from 1996 to like 2007 probably, I would get so nervous and make myself so sick. I would just throw up all over the kid next to me. When they would say 10 seconds, I go, blah, 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 and then like throw the flag and I get a good start and I'd go on. But like every time I always remember after the race, my parents would be like, dude, those parents were mortified. You threw up on their kid and you just left. So obviously that, like, there was so much, like, what do you call that? Like, I was just so stressed out. It was like almost miserable. I love it now. And the stories
Anxiety,
are hilarious.
maybe.
I love it. Anxiety. Yeah. So I would say once I matured a little bit, anywhere from 07, those youth ranks on the 300 EX and the Raptor 250 up onto the college A, when I started to really have fun, maybe be a little less nervous, be a little bit more of an adult, be a man about things. I really started to have fun. So prior to that, I mean, it was fun, but man, it was so stressful.
Well, that's a good answer. All right. And Oliver Saya wants to know about Yamaha support and anything new we can expect, i.e. updated YFZ450R.
I can guarantee it'll have bold new graphics.
Which, by the way, I like your graphics scheme for this year.
Oh, thank you. The red, white, and blue bike. If they would make that and sell it, they would sell out. That thing was beautiful. SSI decals, Ian Harris absolutely knocked it out of the park. Beautiful machine. No, the machine's going to remain unchanged for a few more years, but the good news there is it is going to continue to be built.
Good,
so,
good.
And they could pull something on all of us and change it next year for all I know. Who knows? But they're going to continue to build it, and
it's bulletproof right now, man. I mean, what else?
Bulletproof for sure. We would all love to see some sort of change, a new motor, a new anything. We don't care. The ATV industry is pretty stale. But, Yamaha is committed to at least continuing to produce it because it will not die with them in control.
Well, here's the thing. Why fix it if it's not broke? You're always looking to move forward and advance, but I mean, Lord have mercy, how much further can you guys advance on an ATV? You're already running rails through the woods like at speeds that are unbelievable. I mean, really, how much better can it get?
It's hard to imagine it getting any better. That machine's incredible. I ride a completely bone stock, shocks, front end, the whole bit in Florida down here, and I am actually faster on it on my track than a race bike.
Now, that's funny. You hear people say that.
And we actually, all pros say that.
I know, and that's the biggest BS line I think I've ever heard in my life. Are you serious? Because Thomas Brown says the same thing about his Yamaha. He practices on a bone stock bike. I mean, there's a few components but not much. I mean, a pipe maybe. I don't know, but I don't even know if he runs a different pipe on his stock bike.
We throw some wheels and tires on it, handlebars, and a precision stabilizer. If you don't put the stabilizer on any machine, you're making a huge mistake. And obviously, when them brake pads were out, you throw some DP brakes on it because they'll last forever at this point. Because on a stock bike, but on a stock bike, you never use the brakes. So once you put the DPs on there, they last literally the life of the machine because you just pull the clutch in. Those DP clutches, and you pull the clutch in. You never let off the throttle, and you continue forward down the next straightaway. Same back. And I mean, 93 pump gas is cheap compared to racing fuel. Obviously, VP Fuels helps me tremendously, and without them, I wouldn't be able to do what I do because race gas is expensive, and they make it so I can afford it. Thank you, guys. But obviously, during the week, it's foolish for me to just burn through the VP. So 93 pump gas, maybe a little octane boost, something like that in the stock machines. Stock airbox system. That there's nothing wrong with
Well,
the fuel
that's
customs,
cool.
but
That's cool that you're not wasteful like that. I mean,
no, we really try to our parts allowance, things that we don't use on our race machines that we can use on the stock machine, we continue to use those factory parts. Those factory parts are made to last. Yamaha doesn't build a BS product to sell to you to be trash in a week. They want it to last as long as absolutely possible, and we keep it as stock as possible because it's cheap for me to continue to beat the heck out of.
and I'll tell you right now, I've got a 1993 PW50 that's still bulletproof right now to this day. I mean, that
fires
just
up first kick, the second kick.
Yeah, I mean that's just a testament to Yamaha, and I think what they're capable of. Larry Mills, just
my boy.
Yeah,
Larry,
he's just
DP Brakes.
he just basically sending a shout out and saying he appreciates everything that you do.
Thank you, sir. Larry, you're the man. Everyone
Mama
go
Fowler,
get some DP Brakes or buy them or get sponsored or something. Larry Mills clutches, whatever he makes, they're fantastic, world class. Been around 20 some years.
Yeah,
he's a man.
Yeah,
he's a good guy.
Yeah, and
best hugs on Pro Row.
Isn't that great? I mean,
he's a wonderful human.
Man, such a great human being, period. That hands down.
Wonderful. There's no other way to put it.
Yeah. Vicky Fowler, I think you might know this lady. She does a little bit of, I think she helped you out in your program once or twice, like maybe gave you life or something like that.
Once, yeah, maybe started all of it. Yeah, maybe is literally the reason I'm here.
She was wondering if you winterized the boat before you left for Florida.
It's really interesting that she would notice this because, I mean, it's not like it's an eyesore at her property or anything. It definitely is. Mom, I did not winterize the boat yet. I will be home for like 36 hours shortly, and I'm going to do my best to get it winterized while I'm home before I come back to Florida because you are correct. It is getting cold in Ohio, and that boat is finicky as it is. So I should probably try to prevent the inevitable.
Yes, you should.
You're right, Mom. You're right, Mom. Mom is being a mom over here saying, hey, did you forget this? I did, Mom. You're right. I forgot.
Ken Hill wants to know, is next week good for your official Yamaha photo shoot?
Ken, we're going to have to wait till further notice. I haven't got my graphics approved yet. That's what we say. Hey, man, waiting on a few sponsors. Haven't got graphics approved yet. We'll check up next week. Next week happens. Hey, how's it looking? Ken, really waiting on getting that graphic approval. And by that, I mean, I haven't even sent it to anyone yet. So I think we should wait another week, Ken. So what is it? I don't even have my phone's being used for this. So what's today? The 10th, 11th, 12th?
Thursday, the 7th?
Oh, wow. I'm even ahead of myself. Ken, it's going to be at least 2 months. 8-9 weeks. Then we can talk.
Okay. He's got an answer. All right. And Brandon Smitley. I don't know if you know Brandon or not. He's a motocross, an ATV MX guy. I think he might have tried a GNCC or two. Wasn't real fond of it.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
No, and he's raced some 2 wheels, and he's back to the 4-wheel side of things. But Brandon, a heck of an ATV motocross guy. A little bit on the sissy side as far as being tough and being able to tough out the woods and things like that. But still a nice guy, good guy. Yes, I am.
Sissy. You called him a sissy.
I did. Brandon Smitley, you're a sissy if you don't come race GNCC. But anyway, that's what I tell them all. But here's the flip side of that. He wants to know, you ever think about duking it out in the Pro ATV Motocross Series?
I was supposed to do, and my father said absolutely not prior to what happened, but I was supposed to do either Unadilla or Redbud this year. And I didn't go out of my way to get my quad ready or built, which is another reason why it didn't happen. But we ended up having our GNCC season run into July, which really put a damper on that. And then I don't want any part of like the last race or the championship deciding races. So eventually, yes, I am going to get a machine built. I'm still discussing it with Mark. I'm still figuring out which machine it's going to be. I would love to do, because I have a stock bike that I could bring and run the stock class, but not that I don't want to run that. I want to run it for sure. If I'm there, I'm going to stay for Sunday, race against those guys on stock bikes. They'll wax me. I'm fine with that. But I want to race a built bike. I want the full deal, the whole bit. I would love, I think I could get like 6th, 7th. I think I could get 7th. I would like to think 6th. Top 5 goals, but I mean, if you want to get technical, you got Joel Hetrick, Chad Weenan, Thomas Brown, Nick Janusa, my boy Jeff Rastrelli. You have Wesley Wolf. You have now I'm getting really into it because I'm not great with their names, but you got Tremelin, you got Ford, you got
oh yeah, you got 2 Fords now. Then
all
the
the
younger
Fords.
Ford is woo.
I'm trying to think. A lot of the guys I know don't race anymore, which is sad. They were a lot of the old school guys or older, like that, like almost podium guys. But there's a huge group of guys that obviously I don't really expect to compete with because, your Janusas, Rastrelli's, Browns. I mean, Chad, Thomas, forget it. Not a prayer in the deep down under earth that I can stand with them. And I don't really believe that I can keep up with Thomas, Thomas and Jeff and Nick, any of those guys. But I think I would love to think I could be like sort of there and then like maybe be at the back end of that. But then I obviously still have to, you can't take anything away from any of the guys on that line because they're pro motocross racers. I am not. I would like to think I could run with them, but until I do it, I can only run my mouth. So, got to get something built, got to do it. Yes, I want to do it. My father is absolutely against it, and I would pretty much have to get approval from Yamaha to make sure that they're good with it if I'm going to screw points up or something, which if they think I can screw points up, that means they're confident in my ability. But I don't think that would be the issue. I think, honestly, it would be getting the machine built, getting Dad to basically disown me for a weekend so I can go have fun, come back. When it all goes okay, he'll be okay with it. If something happens, he'll hate me for the rest of my life, but that's part of it.
Well, you got to go against your dad at least one time before you're 30, Walker.
Yeah, right. Like I'm 27 and I still can't make my own decisions. Dang it, Dad. Dang it, Mom. Come on, guys. I'm old. Let me live my life. No, they do. They really do. I'm
just to let everybody know, this is by design. It is by choice. It is not because Walker is a mama's boy, or are you?
Do I have a choice here? Is this one of those yeah or nays?
Yeah.
I'm probably a mama's boy.
Okay, I am too.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I am too. There's nothing wrong with being a mama's boy. I'm 50 years old. My mom's 87, and I'm still mama's boy. You know what I mean?
Dad's tough love, and we butt heads a lot. Love him to death. He's my dad. We'll always be best friends. And that's a good thing. That's how best friends act. You butt heads, and you think differently, and you end up finding a solution in the end. Mom, unconditional love her to death. She'll, no matter, yay, nay, here, there, wherever, she'll take you back, and she's always going to be there. So moms are moms. I'm probably a mama's boy.
There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with being a mama's boy. And wow, dude. I know this has gone way. I always say this, but I always get in these conversations. I need to start putting a plan together so I can just ask X amount of questions instead of going all over the spectrum like this. But I think we get to know each other a lot better and know what's going through our minds a little bit better when we talk like this. Anything special? I'm just going to ask anything special coming up in the off season. I know you're down there early. You're going home for 36 hours. I assume probably for Thanksgiving, maybe to eat a little turkey, or are you going to be down in Florida?
Pretty much going to be down in Florida, but no, my aunt Linda passed away, so I'm going home to be with the family for some memorial services. So there's that. Thank you, appreciate it. She was a great lady, and she got to be on the podium with us. She was battling ovarian cancer for a very long time. She made it way longer than any of us expected. So it was an awesome fight, and I'm glad she got to witness was here for as much as she was, because she was a great lady. And she was there for my first championship. We have some great pictures of all of us together on the podium, which was great. So I'm glad I'm glad I was able to share that memory with her. So yeah, I'm going home for that. It'll be a celebration of life. It's not a death, it's a celebration of life. And I'll be coming back here for another week, get some things. This Florida house, we're on 6 acres down here. I have another 50 outside of town that I go riding on. But this 6 acres is a lot to take care of. The house, there's just a lot to take care of. So I got some more some yard work I got to do. That's what I was doing before we started, and I'll have to finish that.
All right. I'll tell you what, I'll make you a deal. I'll come down this winter. I'll help you with some of that yard work. You give me a place to park, and because I want to do some stuff this winter down south. So maybe I can come down and enjoy some of that weather with you. But buddy, man, thanks. Any parting shots, anything that you might want to pass along before I let you go? Because I have no idea. Like I said, I had no format coming into this. I have no idea if there was anything that you wanted to try to convey in this interview or not today.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, we're all good at talking, that's for sure. So I apologize for everyone that lost interest hours ago. But no, thanks for having me on, Rodney. Really appreciate it. Quad Radio, continue to listen in. They always bring you up to speed on not only ATV motocross, but obviously off-road side of things, and various sponsors throughout the year. So obviously stay tuned, follow them on Instagram and Facebook, doing you a shout out there. Yeah, as far as I go, fixing to get a couple more weeks off, get back into the swing of things. And obviously we're gunning for our, I think we're going to call it Success, SIXS. So pretty cool. That's what we're looking for. Maybe so we got one for these guys, maybe one for the thumb. We'll pull that Pittsburgh Steelers out that they did all those years ago, one for the thumb. Yeah, I'm ready to go. Still healthy. Turned 27 not too long ago. Honestly, I feel better at 27 than I did at 25, which maybe thinking of Chris Borge, thinking of Johnny Gallagher, thinking of Adam McGill. I always felt beat up, miserable, whatever. I'm feeling good. I really do. I feel like I'm in my prime. Scary to think about, but yeah, we're going to be gunning for our 6th repeat championship. And yeah, you'll be seeing us. We don't know the schedule yet. We haven't even got that released. So wherever the first race is, you darn tootin' the WFR Racing and Yamaha will be back and ready to go. And GBC Tires. They will obviously be back. A huge supporter of mine. Thank you guys, everyone at GBC, Randy, all those awesome guys. Yeah, here we go.
All righty, man.
2020, a new decade.
I know, right?
A new decade.
I remember just one final thought here. I remember sitting in 4th grade. The year had to be something like 1979, 78.
The year was 1926.
Might as well have been.
The Great Depression was coming. No,
but I remember them talking about they were trying to they were figuring out what year we would graduate. Somebody in our class was, and they figured out 1987. And I can remember thinking, oh my God, 1987. That is like so far away. And now here we are. And it's almost 2020. And
the years are ripping by, man. I never believed it. I never believed it till it's happening. And the years get shorter and shorter, quicker and quicker.
They do.
I don't want it to end, man. This is like a little dream come true. Don't want it to end.
And here's the thing. You know, they say time flies when you're having fun. I must be having the funnest life of anybody I know. I'm 50 years old. I just had a grandson. Oh, I love being a grandpa, by the way.
How is that? Is that good?
Dude, I can't explain it.
Life-changing?
People tell you all the time.
You had kids, obviously.
Yeah, you don't have kids. But I mean, kids is one thing, and believe me, there is a.
But now you're a grandpa.
But being a grandpa, wow, you can give them back.
Yeah, here you go. but that was fun.
I got to keep him. He was like 4 weeks old. I got to keep him overnight for the first night. Me and Nikki, Nini, as we call her. Wow, I mean, the best baby in the world. And I'll say this, parents, if you want good, calm grandkids, don't wish your kids to be as bad as they are, because here's a little quick story for you. My mom gets hurt every time I tell her this, because I don't remember telling you that, son. But my mom one time or several times said, I hope your kids are just like you or worse.
Oh, no.
You can get the same thing that you gave me. Wow. Okay, thanks, Mom. But you know what I told my daughter? I got so mad at her one time. I can remember, and I was like, I'm not even going to wish your kids to be like you. I want your kids to be good, so you don't have to go through what I'm going through. And that's the truth.
So far, so good?
So far, so good. This kid
Wonderful.
Has been just
congratulations, for sure.
Thank you.
It's awesome.
Yeah, for her too. She needs her demeanor. She's a lot like her mama, so she's got a short temper.
Hey, gets the best of us.
It does. But Walker, again, thank you so very much.
Thanks for having me, Rodney. I really appreciate it.
And I appreciate everybody that stuck around this long right now. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
With that,
2020.
That's it.
We'll see you later.
That's Walker Fowler. I'm Rodney Tomlin. This is Quad Radio.